Hello, my name's Andrew Gardner and thanks for letting me present our work today on periprosthetic fractures. The problem we wanted to investigate was an increasing number of total hip replacement periprosthetic fractures coming through our unit, which we thought were observed in larger stem sizes. So we devised our research question that was, does the increasing CPT stem size increase the risk of periprosthetic fracture? We defined our population as any adult patient receiving a primary total hip for any indication with a CPT stem between 2014 and 2020. Our intervention and comparator group was stem size 0 to 5 and our outcome was periprosthetic fracture. So the incidence of periprosthetic fracture is about 1% and the CPT stem is associated with higher rates of revision. However, the CPT stem still has an ODET rating of 13A star. Patient data was sourced from an NJR audit data request for the specified time period and then linked to local data on fractures. A logistic regression model was then used to produce an outcome measure adjusting for indication and age. The NJR provided 4,258 hips and our local data provided 45 fractures after 46 exclusions, which you can see on screen. Table 1 provides descriptive analysis of patient characteristics. The majority of patients in both groups were categorised as ASA grade 2 and the most common indication for surgery was osteoarthritis followed by neck femur fracture. In the fracture group, the majority of patients suffered a Vancouver B2 fracture and over 2/3 of patients were treated with ORIF only. Looking at the initial results and specifically crude periprosthetic fracture risk, you can see an increasing trend moving up stem sizes with the biggest risk in stem size 3. This graph also shows crude periprosthetic fracture risk broken down into offset options, and the group with the biggest fracture risk is seen in stem size 2 extra extended. To investigate whether there was an association between exposure and outcome, I used a logistic regression model to produce an odds ratio, which is a measure of association between stem size and fracture. The univariate analysis produced an odds ratio of 1.32, and after adjusting for indication and age, the multivariate analysis also produced an odds ratio of 1.32, but this time with a confidence interval that no longer included 1. This can be interpreted as a 32% increased risk in the odds of periprosthetic fracture for every unit increase, i.e. for every increase in stem size. So why is there a positive association between increasing stem size and fracture? Well, implant design may be a factor. The CPT stem has sharper edges, a double taper and is shorter than some other designs. As you go up stem size, this geometry becomes more exaggerated and more pronounced. The other explanation may lie within limitations of the CPT system itself. In our data set, we found the highest fracture risk group was stem size 2 extra extended, and the most common stem size used overall was stem size 1. So within the CPT system, there's no stem size 1 extra extended. So to get more offset, you need to get to stem size 2 extra extended or increase your head size. This table demonstrates that point and shows that if you want to use a +0 or +3.5 head, then to increase your offset further, you have to get up to stem size 2 extra extended. So with this in mind, we propose that surgeons may be being forced to upsize the stem to get the desired offset. The association that we've presented must be interpreted in context of the study's limitations. There is certainly an element of selection bias from missing fractures, and this would bias our result towards a null hypothesis. There's also very low numbers of hip replacements in stem size 4 and 5, and using stem size as a continuous variable perhaps oversimplifies the model and you lose some important clinical information by doing this. However, despite the limitations, increasing CPT stem size appears to increase the odds of periprosthetic fracture, which may be linked to a limitation of the system in that stem size and offset are not independent of each other. Finally, I'd like to thank the NJR for giving me permission to present the data. Thanks for listening.